Back in fall, I made a trip to Skåne, the southern region of Sweden. I had never been to Sweden before, but I knew that I was going to fall in love with it. The trip was all about learning more about the food culture and the incredible diversity of locally grown food that the region of Skåne has to offer. From meeting local producers, farmers, chefs, and just some amazing individuals who love to share what they're passionate about, to exploring the beautiful nature, cities, and small villages. It all came down to cook a dinner on the very last day, with all the inspiration that I had collected throughout the week and with local ingredients only. And of course, with a big portion of my own creativity. Right after arriving in Malmö, we went straight to Grand Malmö, a zero-waste grocery store that doesn't use any packaging and supports local farms and farmers. And I find it amazing that more and more people care about not using plastic and just care about the environment and nature in general and what it provides us with. After that, I was getting a little hungry, so we went straight to this super cute little restaurant called Mineral. A restaurant that focuses on natural wines and vegan food, all with locally grown ingredients, of course. And what I find super funny is that they use the IKEA pots, the ones that I use at home to cook. So, hello Sweden, I'd say. And after that, it was time for ice cream. And as for someone who loves ice cream, I'm pretty critical, but let me tell you, it was one of the best ice creams I've ever had, with unique flavors like Earl Grey tea and rhubarb. After a good night's sleep and my daily 20-kilometer morning run, of course, my belly was roaring again. So we went to have some more food at this place called the Raw Food House. And when there's so many options to choose from, I usually have a really hard time and tend to pick everything. But in this case, I'm glad I did, because the food was so good. And it was literally like having the rainbow on the plate. With bellies full of rainbows, we kept driving to the northwest to this super cute restaurant called Miss Alice in the middle of nowhere. It was super interesting talking to the owner of the restaurant and the farmer that grows all of the tomatoes that they use for most of their dishes, actually, because they're pretty much all tomato based. Apart from the super refreshing apple juice that they had this amazing tomato pie that I absolutely loved. And to learn more about where those tomatoes grow, of course I had to visit this tomato jungle. But there weren't only tomatoes, there were so many herbs and salads. I just felt like an Easter bunny, just eating and picking all the leaves. And the love and care that the farmer poured into it should be cheered with a good beer. And that was our next stop, a local brewery with people behind it with just as much passion for what they do. These guys were not only super fun, but they also explained how they make their beer and just from A to Z how everything is made. I didn't really know a lot about it because I'm not a beer drinker, but let me tell you, for someone who doesn't really like beer, it was pretty damn good. And as I said, these guys might have looked very tough and strong, but they had a heart as soft as a silken puppy. Next stop was Mölle. We were staying at the Grand Hotel in Mölle, and it was a little bit of a mission to get to the hotel. And I've never really been friends with the term pack light, but at least my wannabe catwalk and the mission to get to the hotel made us hungry for dinner. So we went to this place called Mölle Krukmakeri. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but as crazy as it sounded for a Swedish-speaking person, this place was just as crazy. Apart from the restaurant, there's karaoke nights and there's a beautiful pottery in the back. So super cool and funky. But the next day started off a little more quiet. And being surrounded by nature, to me, is pretty much the best thing on this planet. There's something so calming and soothing about it. Something that just allows you to connect with yourself. Watching the ocean, the land, dance in their own rhythm. There's just something so special about it. Nature can give us so much more than I think we can possibly ever imagine. After hiking back, we had to hop straight back into the car and drive to Norviken Gardens. A beautiful, beautiful entry with an even more beautiful inside. But of course, my eyes were drawn straight through the kitchen. I just find it so relaxing and pleasing to just see people who also share such a huge passion for food and cooking. The chef Tobias explained all the dishes and what's so special about them to us. And he also mentioned that all of the herbs and pretty much all of the food that they use is actually from their garden or from the region. And of course, I wanted to see that garden. And let me tell you, this garden was one of the most beautiful gardens, if not the most beautiful garden I've ever seen. The garden consists of 7 different themed gardens, and it was almost like a living garden museum, to be honest. Oh, and that lavender, I still have that smell in my nose. We enjoyed a beautiful, beautiful sunset at the Riviera Hotel, close to Bastad. And that was it for the day, because we had to get up early to drive to the beautiful Southwest. Our first stop was Helakra Vineyard. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but we were welcomed with the most beautiful spread and delicious wine. Of course, that's what you do at a winery. You drink wine, and if you want to go a step further, you go outside to the wine fields and see where all the grapes grow in this wine estate that the Hansen families owned for over 5 generations. So when this lovely man explained to me exactly how they make their wine, it made complete sense to me why this wine tastes so good and fresh, and especially good to local food. And then we also made a quick visit at Hurtibrygga, where the last evening's dinner was planned, that I was already getting super, super excited about. To finish the day off, we drove to Engavallen, a farm with a hotel and restaurant where everything they use and produce, without exception, is 100% organic and grown on the farm. The homegrown herbs they use in the restaurant, for example, they just smelled so incredibly fresh and just so real. It's a place where ecology and gastronomy go hand in hand, and where animals are treated with the greatest respect. The owner of Engavallen really amazed me with his knowledge and just his care for what he does and for the animals, and yeah, he just seemed to be a really, really good guy that knows exactly what he does with all his heart and soul, and is just so passionate about spreading his message. But the highlight of the day was definitely the pig party. So I was sitting there in the middle of all those pigs and just petting them and just being able to play with them, and it was just so amazing. Day number 5 started off with a visit at Olof Victor's. All their bread is made from their own sourdough and baked in traditional wood-fired stone ovens. They've also been voted as Sweden's best patisserie and won numerous awards for their creations. I was going all crazy for their crackers though. Yep, I love everything crunchy, and ate pretty much 4 bags of sourdough crackers dipped in local honey, and did not forget to bring some more for on the road as snack. Because we already had to keep going. The next stop was this Apple Heaven local shop, where I was basically just diving my hands into a sea of apples and pears and bringing them with us. And something else that shouldn't be missed is a quick visit at the Allestänar Monument, a place where the sky, the ocean, and the earth meet, and where it's incredibly windy. As we kept driving, we realized yet another time how diverse the region of Skåne is. Because you really get it all somehow. Even this Maldives kind of beach vibe. Even though it's a little bit colder, it's very stunning, and you're just kind of by yourself. Day 6 was all about exploring the southeast. I'm still gushing over this bed and breakfast place called Rubensholm. I just wished I could have just taken the whole house with me back home to Switzerland. But we had to leave because the apple farm was waiting for us. Well, the lady at the apple farm who showed us around the apple farms. And you gotta understand, as for someone like me who's been eating an apple pretty much every single day for like 10 years, this was super exciting. I just wanted to pick all the apples at once and just take a big bite of all of them and just try all the different kinds of apples. But I was so lucky to be able to go pick some apples and have the lady show me how it's done properly. And being able to experience that and see with your own eyes that every apple is handpicked just kind of like gives a greater appreciation for the food that you're eating, even if it's just an apple. And on the way back, we stopped for some freshly pressed apple juice, but because I was wondering how exactly they make their apple juice on the farm, it was time to make our own apple juice. And after tasting the world's best freshly pressed apple juice, our next stop was Bondens Skafferi. It's basically a farmer's market that collects local produce from many of the farms in Skåne and then delivers them to the chefs and restaurants. And the passion of the people working there for local produce and good food ended up completely changing the food culture in Skåne, and also enabling the restaurants to cook food with local ingredients on a totally new level. With all the memories of the past week in my mind, I just felt very content, and we enjoyed the most beautiful sunset in Aarhus, on the boat, on the river, waving the Swedish flag. Day number 7, the last day of the week has arrived, and it was finally time for the special night's dinner. The dinner that was supposed to be inspired by everything that I've experienced throughout the whole week in Skåne. Inspired by my own creativity and of course by the one of the 2 guys working at Hörtebrygga. So together we drove to a garden nearby that grows local food and simply picked everything that we thought could possibly fit into our dinner. We had no idea yet what we were gonna make, but I think our creativity was just going like crazy, and we were talking about what we could make, and we just picked all, the microgreens and herbs and roots and vegetables and those orange cherry tomatoes, for example. They were so sweet that we were talking about making a dessert with it. Back at the restaurant, Hörtebrygga, we just sat down for a minute and talked about what we could make. All that was clear is that we were going to create a 6-course menu with local ingredients only, and we also decided to make it fully vegan so that everyone can eat everything. After we decided what we're going to make, leaving the option open that it's going to be completely different, we started cooking. And that was so much fun. After about 6 hours of cooking, all the guests have arrived and we were ready to present the food. As the guests were Swedish and they didn't really know who I was, I explained a little bit about who I am and what I do, and I was very happy that they liked the food. There's nothing more beautiful to me than being able to cook for people, being able to spread joy and love and connection with cooking and food, and just bringing people together and just have a good time, have fun, enjoy and appreciate the love and passion for food, and just have a good time. This week has been far more rewarding than I had ever expected. It just made me realize once again that it's a huge privilege to even have the choice of what we want to eat and what not. And it just raised my appreciation for what goes behind local food so much more. Every apple is handpicked, every cherry tomato, every bunch of herbs. And eating that with the awareness of where it comes from just honestly makes it taste so much better, and you just enjoy every bite so much more. So big thank you to all the amazing people that I was able to meet, to the farmers and producers and chefs and everyone who was ready to share their passion with me. And I really appreciated it and find it the most inspiring thing when people are passionate about something, because that's what life is all about, to really pour your heart and soul into something, because like that you can really have an effect on other people, a positive effect. And this week once again showed me that the more you care about what you put into your body and the more you care about where it comes from, the better you feel. And the better you feel, the more you're going to radiate that to the outside and hopefully inspire everybody else to follow what makes their heart jump, their eye sparkle, and what they're passionate about. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you were able to feel some of that good energy and good vibes through the video. And if you ever want to visit Skåne and just experience the beauty of this wonderful, wonderful place and try all the food, then I can only recommend it to do so.